Welcome, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our advanced trainings. Tonight it is with me. For those of you who are new, my name is Petra. I've been doing this for almost 2 years with Healy, but tonight it's such a special session, and I have been waiting for this for so long. Honestly, it's an honor. It's an honor to have this beautiful person and human joining us today. And I'm gonna just go do the housekeeping before we present this beautiful person. Here we go. Tonight we are literally doing, oh, sorry, that's the chat moving. Stop. Here you go. My screen sharing is not really good. Okay, here. So tonight we have a beautiful session on deep cycles and deep cycle H programs, which are one of my top favorite programs ever, honestly, since the beginning of Healy. And today we have the most beautiful inventor of these programs, Fredrik Poleszynski. I hope I did pronounce that correctly. Otherwise, he will. Really good? Good. So we are going to dive deep into the deep cycles tonight. But before we do, let's do some housekeeping. For those of you who have a different mother tongue, so you don't understand English as well, you are more than welcome to use a Wordly app. So you can scan this QR code, you can type in or choose the language you would like this session to be translated in, and then you listen in on your phone and you look at your computer to actually participate, because you don't want to miss this session tonight. And of course, as always, the housekeeping of disclaimers and notices. We know that anything that it is presented here that we talk about, it is for educational purposes only. Make sure you make wise decisions for yourself and that you use your intuition, as I always say. Your body knows best. And of course, as we love our Healy and MagPeely devices, and we sometimes can't live without them, they are part of our beautiful life. We do need to note that they're not intended to cure, to treat, to mitigate, to prevent any disease or medical conditions at all. So make sure that you make wise and conscious decisions of what you're doing with your devices, and make sure that this is for wellness purposes and for creating a better environment in your life. So all the housekeeping done. And without further ado, of course, we are going to present this beautiful human that I've been waiting for over a year and a half to actually join me on these beautiful training sessions. And he's been working in this industry, well, in multiple industries for over 30 years, I think it is. And I have the honor, literally the honor, to introduce you to a multidimensional thinker and creator, Fredrik Poleszynski. And who is Jan? So Jan is a Norwegian inventor, integrative health expert, and a tech pioneer with over 40 years of experience in blending science, spirituality, and innovation. The best things ever. And from creating early virtual reality tech in 90s, where the internet didn't even exist yet, to developing the revolutionary deep cycle frequency programs for Healy that we are so much loving today. And Jan brings a rare combination of deep intuition, scientific curiosity, and a visionary thinking. He is a musician, a nature lover, has a black belt in karate, and someone who believes that the future of medicine is vibrational, integrative, and connected to the rhythms of nature. So get ready tonight to get inspired by a man who truly lives what he teaches, and someone that really resonates in the way that I live as well. And it's a true honor to have you here with us, Jan, and welcome.
Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. I am quite kind of overwhelmed, but well, that's how it is. Thank you very much. Thanks for having
You're
me.
welcome. You are welcome. This is how I see you and how I followed you and the way that things that resonate with me. So you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I think it's worthwhile adding that, like everybody, I have my challenges. I have my life cycles. I have this, as I told you just before we started, I woke up 4 o'clock this morning. And I think it's a lot of people who has this tendency these days that nights are short, you wake up and there is something going on. It's like we're all have experiencing development change. And I think this is, some people are worried about that these changes now, we're in a catastrophic period for Earth and the environment with wars and pollution and all that stuff. But we're definitely in also period where there is extreme possibilities of change and development. So I think it's basically up to you and us, everybody, to use this time to enable the changes we want. We are not passive. We are not victims. We can do something about it. And of course, keeping our health and body and mind in good shape and being ready for whatever comes, it's a good idea. Do you want me to jump into some
Before we jump into your
basic things?
presentation, I
Yeah.
would love to ask you some fun questions. You know, people that know me
Yeah.
that I'm a really curious person, so I like to ask fun questions.
Sure.
Because I always love to know people better and get to know them on a level that it's not just the professional one. Because as you said, we're all humans, we have quirks, we have challenges, and I truly believe that that's the best part of us because it gives us that vulnerability and heart. And I love that about people. So you were talking about, the love of frequency, and you're talking about the changes, and you're talking about the nature, nature changes all the time. And I've read multiple times and heard you that you are a true nature lover, and that sometimes you address nature as being your religion. So my question to you would actually be, what's one lesson that nature keeps teaching you over and over again?
Well, well, that's a big question because there's so many things. But I would say that the main message is that we are nature, and the more we are in touch with nature, the more we are in nature, and the more we accept that we are nature, we cannot separate from it. The better we feel, the better everything works. Do you still hear me okay? I just got a white spot in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, me too. So I don't know is it somebody sharing or Vincent, can you please check what's going on at the back?
Yeah, but it's all right. So I think the greatest lesson of nature, when I think more about it, it's that you don't have to teach nature anything. There is nothing to learn. So let's say there was a wise guy once called Buddha, and he had a lot of followers, and they sat under his tree. And all these followers kept asking him questions, and they wanted him to lecture, and they also talked about his book or books that were written about him. And he said, everything I say and everything I write has no real meaning, no real purpose, because the only thing that has purpose is your own experience, your own development. And I could say a little bit the same about nature. I don't compare myself to Buddha, but nature does everything in a miraculous way. And if when and I have one thing that makes me cry always, you know, always. And it doesn't matter if it's on TV or a film or in the real life, and that's birth. When the child comes, and when the child comes, I just thinking about it, I want to cry, because it's such a miraculous thing. It's such a wonderful thing. It is kind of showing nature at its best, and of course, what I would call woman power, female power. It is, you know, an enormous thing. You know, it's, think about it. It's a little creature in the stomach, and it's coming out this tight channel, and there it comes out, fully developed, fully capable, an incredible being.
Conscious being, yes, it's a
Conscious being,
beautiful
and
thing.
that reminds me that we don't have to teach nature anything. We don't have to modify nature. What we should do is align with nature and accept our nature, so that's the big message from nature, I think.
Beautiful. I love this. I so resonate with this. Thank you for sharing this with us. I will give you the floor so you can actually share all the knowledge with us. So it's yours.
All right, so I think I'm going to share share a presentation, just to make sure that we are on the same level, because even if we are spiritual, we are developed and have a lot of knowledge, there is some basics I like to just check out that we are in sync with. So I had this lecture before, and I'm not going to go through this presentation in detail because it would take too long, but just a few things that I'd like you to be aware of. Yeah, we just talked about this one. You see the presentation okay, Petra? Can you see the presentation, Petra?
Yes, I can see it, and everybody can see it as well.
Right. So I just want to mention a couple of basic things. What we think we know, because in reality, we don't know very much. What we know is what we feel, and our intuition tells us. We know if you, I remember I was in a lecture once, having a lecture, and there was a doctor raising his hand, and he said, "Do you have a double randomized trial to document what you're saying?" And I said to him, "Do you have a documented, how do you say it, double-blind trial that proves you love your son?" And he said, "Of course not. I know I love my son." And so from my perspective, there is one thing we know, and that's how we can love and love our family and our closest. The rest is theory, and we have to experience it. Our consensus now, the scientific consensus, is that what we see is electromagnetic. You seeing me, that's electromagnetic waves. What we see of the universe is electromagnetic, and it has polarity, plus and minus. And that's about 4% of the universe. So the rest of the universe, we have theories, but we don't really know. That's 96%. So we should keep that in mind. And another very important factor is that 99% of all the molecules in our body is water. And some will now think, oh, I heard 70%. And that's also right. It's the 70% in weight. But in terms of molecules, it's 99%. So that means we are water machines. And what does these water machines require to work? And that's charge. We need electric charge. And that charge basically comes from light. And light is electromagnetism. So also, another thing that most of you are aware of is that from our physics, we say that 99.9999 4 times of everything is empty. It's just energy. So if there is matter, if there is really something called matter, it is 0.00001% that is matter. So it's not some fancy idea that we're all energy and so on. It's a reality. Okay. So I'm not going to...
Yanni, sorry to interrupt you. Let me just can you stop sharing, and I'll just disable the annotation so people don't scribble over your screen.
Okay.
So I'm just going to, yeah, so I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to disable the kind of, oh, sorry.
No problem.
Here you go. You can keep going. Sorry for the interruption.
Sure, no problem. Let me see if I just find the presentation again. There it is. Okay, so you see it well?
Yes, I can see the presentation.
Okay, so anyway, a lot of smart people understood this at the early stage, but now it's becoming consensus in science, and that's a good thing. So we're not the kind of freaks or having some sort of strange belief. The reality is that anything we experience physically has an energy, and all energy has information. And a part of this important information is frequencies, vibrations, it's oscillations of this energy. Let me just see a couple of things. So anything you see around you is electromagnetic. So here is just a chart of the electromagnetic spectrum. And when we talk about electromagnetics, we talk about energy coming and going in pulses. And we measure the distance from one pulse to another in seconds, and that's what we call hertz. So very high hertz, you can go through all material like X-rays when you go to the hospital. Lower frequencies doesn't go through everything, but it's being absorbed. Just like the light from the video now you're seeing. Another small thing, or not small thing, but a big thing, is resonance. And that means that when there is something that resonates to you, as we often say, we don't think about what does that mean. But let me explain one example. I come into the room and I talk about something. When I talk about something and think about something, there is an electromagnetic process going in my body because we're all electromagnetic. And this electromagnetic process sends out waves in pulses, in frequency. And you can feel those frequencies automatically because you are a receiver and sender. You have an antenna, everybody has it, it's nothing special for me or you. And if those frequencies, those vibrations and those thoughts and words, which also are frequency, resonate to you, it means that you start to vibrate in the same frequencies. And then the information is transferred and you feel, oh, I understand it, I feel it. So that's resonance. And that goes for everything, also the frequencies from Healy. So if there is a frequency from Healy that is specifically beneficial for you, you can feel the benefits of it because it resonates to you. There resonates to some part of your organ, your cells, or your emotional structure. I'll get back to it. Yeah, these are important things. So I'll just mention this. It's about the geomagnetic environment. What is geomagnetic environment? Well, it's the frequencies that naturally oscillate around Earth, and it's a frequency from the sun and from the stars and from nature. So we know that our DNA, our hormone system, our circadian clock, and everything going on in the body is depending on these frequencies to work. It's like our tuning fork. And these frequencies contain information. So lately, and that's one of the reasons I think I woke up so early this morning, there has been enormous amount of sunstorms and then a bunch of high energy frequency coming into Earth and influencing the frequencies on Earth, modulating it. It means one big frequency wave has many small dots, which are modulations, information. And that influences us. Some people wake up early in the morning, like me. Other people feel energized. Some people feel emotional, out of balance. Some people feel they have a spiritual experience. But for sure, this is well proven in science. It influences very much. So we are connected to the surroundings and nature by frequency. Yeah. So we are talking about light, and that means we're talking about the visual light, which is in the middle of this field. But actually, light is charged particles we call photons or quantas of energies. And so all electromagnetic waves are light. Yeah. Let me see if there's a couple of things. We all glow, of course. And I say you have magic powers. What does that mean? And that's relevant for Healy and deep cycle. Because one of the questions, Petra, you had in your list for me, I remember, is what is the most important thing, most important thing you can do when you start a Healy treatment. And that's, of course, your intention, because your intention, your consciousness, your will to do something influence the physical matter. This is now a fact. It's not something we need to make a theory about. They use it in quantum computers. They call it quantum entanglement. So we know that our consciousness, our thoughts, influence the reality, for sure. So when you do frequency therapy, it's a good idea to set yourself an intention what you want this frequency therapy to do for you. Because if you do that, you enhance and inform the waves so they work much better. That's the magic. That works on many levels in your life. Yeah, I think I'm not going to go through the whole presentation, but we will see later. All emotions, how you feel, are stored in the body, and they're stored in organs and organ systems. And these organ systems, they talk to each other in many ways, and the primary way is electromagnetic waves. So if you are stressed, it will influence your kidneys and adrenals in many ways, also electromagnetically. If you have a trauma related to, let's say, sexual organs or sexuality, or very anxiety or a big experience that generates a lot of anxiety, this pattern can be saved in your kidney system, which is connected downwards and, of course, up. These channels go through the body, even through your teeth. So your front teeth is a kidney. So if you have bad front teeth, it influences your kidney. So that's the thing to be aware of. And another important factor is that I learned this from Dr. Jerry Tent himself, by the way, many years ago, the first time, and it's been proven now again and again that a key factor of your health is the charge, is the energy of your cells, and we can measure it in volt. So one of the things you do with Healy and good water and good food, sun and grounding, it's to help charge the body, to charge the water. Remember, we are 99% water molecules, and this water holds charge. So if the water has a good charge, you have a good energy, and then you can repair, make new cells, work, and you have energy to live. Here is a chart I've been showing many times, and it's incredibly interesting, I think. You can see the measurement of charge of different types of cells. And you can see to the left side, we're talking about cancers, and to the right side, we talk about the charge of normal cells in the body. And the thing is that if you have a disease, you have pain, you have malfunction, you have a bad terrain in the stomach, meaning you have wrong bacteria, you have fungus and others, or you have cancers. Everybody have cancers, but we normally handle it every day, and the immune system take care of it. But if we cannot take care of it and the charge stays too long, too low, the whole metabolism, the whole energy production, the whole building of new cells, the whole regulation of the cell is compromised. So if you can keep your charge, you'll be healthy. And you see, interesting thing is that brain cells and muscle cells, they have very high charge and high function. And if you look at the middle there on the right side, you see the liver, this has quite a lower charge at the level of cancer cells. Cancer cells normally, or can have even reverse polarity, meaning it has opposite charge, which makes them ferment instead of having a normal oxidative metabolism. Anyway, why do you think the liver cells has lower charge? Well, I think it's pretty simple, because the liver has to deal with all the toxins in the body. The toxins are oxidative, meaning they steal electrons, so they steal charge. So therefore, because there are always toxins passing through the liver, the charge goes down in the liver cells. And when you eat antioxidant or drink water with hydrogen or pure water, etc., or use the Healy, you help increase the charge of the cells in the body. So it's all electric. So here is, we can get back to this, good ideas of what gives you voltage and what takes away voltage. And if you see traumas, they steal your voltage, just like a scar in the body that can interrupt the connection of the electric fields. Okay, I think we're going to have a look at the deep cycle. Any questions from you, Petra, before I jump into the deep cycles?
No, I love this. The only thing that I might ask you is if you can go into the panel of the Zoom of sharing and just choose more. So at the top, when you have the panel for sharing.
I have the panel and the sharing.
And just click more.
I have the one participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share, advanced sharing options.
Oh, no. So now you're sharing the presentation. Just go to more, and there will be an option to disable annotations.
I just did it.
Perfect. So we don't have the disruption on the screen. And if you want to get rid of the scribbles on the screen, you can just unshare and start sharing again. So that will reset it as well. But this was great. I love this.
Okay. I don't think we can. Anyway, all right. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the deep cycle program works. This is the advanced training. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to go into all details, but probably many of you are using it and you don't know really the background for the program. So I think I'll take some of the main things, and then maybe Petra can stop me and ask questions if needed.
Perfect. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So it's called deep cycle of a reason. And that is because I don't know anything in our physical existence that doesn't go in cycles. And actually, I don't know anything that doesn't go in cycles, even life. If we believe we have a life after death, which I do, I think we exist, energy don't disappear, information don't disappear. Life is also a cycle. And the universe obviously has a cycle, the stars has a cycle, and our body has a cycle, and everything is going in cycles. So it makes sense to make a cycle of programs that supports the natural cycles of the body. And that's just what I did. Also, the moon, of course, has the cycle.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Jan. I just want to interrupt you a bit. I'm sorry for the abrupt interruption. Are you sharing a presentation for deep cycles?
Yes.
Oh, because we can't see that one. We still see the last presentation.
Okay, I will stop share. I will share again. It should. Do you see it now?
Yes, now it is. Thank you.
Sure. Good. Thanks for saying. Anyway, so the moon also has cycles, and the sun has cycles, and that's something to consider. So, for example, as you all know, that the moon has great influence on the water of Earth. That's why we have tide. So we suddenly look at the sea, and it's much higher. And what do you think happens in your body? It's 99% water. Well, it influences your body. So it's a good thing to think about who is the transporter of water. That's the kidneys. Who is taking care of the circulation? It's the kidneys and heart. So whenever you feel bloated or out of sync with the moon phases, it can be a good idea to consider these programs. And we also think about the development of the cells and renewal of cells. So that's also considered in the programs. And just like in nature, we have different stages, and different frequencies can support different stages of development and life and cycles of cells. And of course, we have different ages and we have different needs. So one thing, and it's also a life cycle, but one thing to be aware of is the fact that the younger you are, a child, you can, there is, let's say this, just an annotation. I would not treat a child with a direct current frequency that cannot respond and say if they like it or not. So if they're so small they cannot express if they like it or not, I wouldn't do it. But besides that, the way Deep Cycle is made and the way Healy is working with Deep Cycle, it's totally non-dangerous, non-harmful, and can be used by everybody. And the interesting thing is that children respond very quickly. So that means you can use lower intensity, you don't have to feel the current, you can use shorter programs, and they will have a great effect. I even once remember I treated a family, 2 children that were epileptic and had a lot of issues. And they were so small that I didn't want to treat them directly. So they sat on the lap of the parents, and I had a handheld electrode in each hand of the mother and father, and they were holding hands. They were sitting in, let's say, a half circle. And then I treated the parents while the children were sitting in the lap. And then, of course, when the frequencies go through the body, we know from electromagnetic theory that when there is a current going through a conductor, which your body is a conductor, there will be an electric field 90 degrees from this. So that meant I could indirectly treat the children by treating the parents. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, and it worked great. And it also, in the different life cycles, if you are full of toxins, you have been very much out of balance, it's a good idea to start with a sensitive program. It's a good idea to start slow, because there will be a change in the body, and when the body gets the help, it will start detoxifying. And some people feel uncomfortable with this. But when you're used to it, and when you get older, you can normally use higher intensity and longer treatments, because you don't react that easily. Yeah, so there is 12 programs, and I'll quickly go through them. Just about the use word deep cycle. So the word deep comes from that frequencies on the program address issues on both, let's say, fundamental level of organs and organ systems, electric systems in the body, but it also influences your emotions and the fields stored in the body. And another reason for calling it deep was because my long cooperation with Nuno Nina, which many of you know well, great person, great inventor, and a good friend of mine. I learned a lot from him in the beginning, and he made the gold cycle, which I also consider good programs. The gold cycle are more, let's say, they have less frequencies for each topic, and in that respect, deep cycle is more comprehensive, goes deeper. So this is also one of the reasons the name Deep Cycle. Not only it works on a deeper level, but it is comprehensive and has frequencies for expanded experience and treatments. So the Deep Cycle history, well, of course, we have in Time Weaver, which is the mother of Healy, and the Time Weaver frequency devices. And also in Healy, we have frequency databases. It means there's a database containing given frequencies for given indications. For example, kidney functions, emotional functions, etc. And some of these frequencies originate from Lakowski and Dr. Royal Rife and so forth. So that's accumulation of frequency used through history and from many practitioners with experience. And I don't know exactly how many frequencies are in the database of Healy now, but I think we have something like a couple of 100,000 to choose from. So we have a lot to choose from. And part of this history is, of course, that I started working with frequency in 2008. In about 2010, 2011, I was helping developing or testing the prototypes for time wave frequency, the mother of Healy. And I started treating people, and I had a close connection with Nuno, and we often talked together and shared experiences. As I said, I learned a lot from him, his way of using frequencies. And I found out that after a few years, a lot of practitioners wanted to have the frequency system in their clinic, the time wave frequency at that time. And I thought, how can they learn how to use these frequencies effectively? Because it's not straightforward. It's something you have to experience and understand. So that's why I made the deep cycle programs originally. I made them for time wave frequency, so the therapist in a simple way could treat, let's say, the kidney system or other parts of the body. So that was the origin. And then at some point, Healy came along, and the deep cycle, they asked me if they could use deep cycle. I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they started using deep cycle, that what I would call deep cycle 1. And after some time, I found out that, or I knew it already, but Healy has some different technical parameters from time wave. Among them, the range of frequencies and a little bit what they can do and cannot do in terms of settings and configuration and so forth. So the upgrade to deep cycle harmonics included tailoring for Healy. So the frequency programs would be optimal for Healy. So it was made for Healy, not for time wave. Another thing is I included a list of frequencies in most programs called universal frequency and universal harmonics. And those are frequencies from nature, from natural rhythms like Schumann, like the rhythms of your circadian systems, like the rhythms of the pulse in your spine, like the rhythm, the tones of the frequencies going around Earth. And the interesting fact about that is when they take the high frequencies that goes around the atmosphere in Earth all the time, which we of course are attuned to and our DNA is used to and need, and you lower those frequencies into the audible range so you can hear them, you will hear sounds like that. Sounds like bird song to me. So those frequencies, I think, actually are what the birds hear, and they replicate it and they use the same frequencies. So I think the birds learn from nature. And of course, they are nature too. So that's one of the important features of the deep cycle harmonics. It has the universal frequency list that is not in the previous deep cycle programs. The universal frequency list kind of covers all. It grounds you to the environment, and it helps you synchronize to the natural rhythm of Earth and your body and nature. It supports the basic organs, and it also supports your emotional level. So, yeah. Anyway, here's
Jan, a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
There was a question in the community when we were preparing. One of the members actually asked if solfeggio frequencies are also included in the harmonics of the deep cycles.
Yeah, well, in the databases of Healy, there is solfeggio. And when you search for specific functions, you use solfeggio. But there is not a solfeggio frequency program in that respect in Healy in our deep cycle. But there will be solfeggio frequencies. And you should also be aware, and people refer to all kind of frequency lists. that audio frequency and electromagnetic frequency are not the same. So it doesn't mean that if audio frequency at 434 has a given effect, will have the same effect in electromagnetic waves. So that's maybe something to be aware of.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will just quickly talk about the programs. The sensitive program is a good place to start. It's sensitive, and it's also, so for people who hasn't done frequency, who has been very ill, are very out of balance emotionally, physically, spiritually, on any level, doesn't matter. It's a good idea to start with sensitive, because something all these programs does is to create balance in the body and the electric system. So that means when there is balance in the body and there is energy, the body will start to not attack, but to start to tackle challenges in the body. And if the challenge is a detoxification, it will start to detoxify. So that's a good idea to start slow with sensitive. Also for children, which are specifically sensitive, and sometimes even if you are used to frequencies, you are in a sensitive period of life, you can use it, because it supports sensitivity on many levels, chemically, electromagnetically. So if you're sensitive to radiation, to mobile phones, Wi-Fi, etc., you can use sensitive to reduce the sensitivity. And if you are sensitive to the environment, allergic, you react to pollen, I do that, and things like this, sensitive is a great program. And then it's one of my favorite programs, and a key program I recommend more or less everybody to start with after they are introduced through sensitive, and that's a kidney program. So obviously we have the kidney all female, kidney all male. The kidneys have a lot of important functions, but it also has functions on an emotional level. So when you treat the kidneys, you do not only treat the physical organ, but you treat the whole electric channel, which goes from your teeth up to your head, down to your toes, under your foot, to the kidney 1 point, for those of you who know acupuncture. And of course, the kidney female program has included searches in databases such as ovaries, uterus, vagina, and all the female organs. And the same for the kidney all male. Women don't have prostate, men have. So it's more tailored directly for each. And a question I often get is that when I do the resonance, sometimes the Healy suggests that I should run kidney all male, but I'm a female. How can that be? Is there something wrong? No, there's nothing wrong. So there can be multiple reasons for this, but one reason is, for example, that the kidney all male supports testosterone production, which is important for males, more important than females, but females also need it. So sometimes a female can be very low on testosterone, and therefore the system will suggest that you run kidney all male. That's fine. Cannot hurt you, but you won't treat your prostate, of course. So, but in general, if you need the kidney program and you're a female, use the female. If you're a male, use the male. But if it suggests you should use either of them, that's fine, because all the basic functions are the same. All the basic functions support the kidneys and the emotions and the connections through the kidneys. And just to elaborate a little bit about the kidneys and the importance of kidneys and lungs. The so-called pH buffer system of the body, that is regulated by the kidneys and lungs. And when we talk about pH, people talk about acidic, alkaline, but they don't know what the word pH means. pH means potential hydrogen. So it means the charge of hydrogen in water, in liquids in the body. So if there is a high charge, it's slightly alkaline. If it's low charge, it's slightly acidic. So the kidneys has to remove toxins and acids, and you also breathe out carbon dioxide, which is acid. So a very important foundation for your physical and emotional health is to ensure that both kidneys and lungs are working well. So that's why it's so important to run them. And I can tell them that it was a period for some years ago. I had a lot of problems and my body was really, really, really not well. Yeah, it's a long story. But at the point, I was wondering if I was going to survive. And at that point, I also discussed with Nuno, what do you think I should do about this? And I found out I will do Breath of Life in the morning and Kidney Oil in the afternoon. Breath of Life, which supports the lung system and related organs. It's useful. It can be best to use in the morning. It's always good, but you can use it in the morning. Simply because your internal clock turns on the different organs at different times of the day, and the lungs are active early in the morning. So it's a good time to support the lungs. And the same with the kidneys. It's active in the afternoon, maybe top activity around 5 o'clock in the PM. So that's a good idea. And after running the kidney oil in the afternoon, Breath of Life in the morning, for several weeks, my condition started to improve and I started to regain my energy and the body started to gain balance. And that was because I hit the main function of the body to charge and withhold charge, expel toxins, get rid of axins, and create balance in the body. And that's the kidneys and the lungs. That's why you have 2 kidneys and 2 lungs. You cannot live without them, but you can live without half a liver or a liver, in worst case, but you cannot live without both kidneys. You can live with one. So that's why you have 2. Then we have the clean oil application, and the clean oil, of course, will help the body detoxify. So clean oil is not something you run before you have been through the sensitive. You run a period with the kidneys and the Breath of Life, the lung system, to support the basic foundation of it. Then it's a good idea to do clean oil, and we all need it in periods. So like in the Chinese medicine, you do it in the fall and the spring. It's a good idea to run clean oil, but we all have accumulate toxins, heavy metals. The environment is full of it, unfortunately. So it's a good idea to use it once in a while. Clean oil will help you not only clean the physical body, but a toxic body generates toxic chemicals. Toxic chemicals will interrupt your hormone production and will influence how you feel. So if you're toxic, you don't feel well. You often feel depressed, anxiety, etc. Can be toxins. And digest all is in the name. It supports your digestive system, but not only that. So let's say, for example, one of the type of frequency databases used in digest all is for the intestinal system. So your digestive system. But the digestive system and the membranes, the mucous membranes of the digestive system is very closely related to your skin. So if you have a skin issue, you most likely need to treat your digestive system. If you have a sinus issue, always a running nose, you probably need to treat your digestive system because these are connected through channels. Okay, then we're at the Breath of Life. Great for anything related to the lungs and emotions related to the lungs. What is the typical emotions related to the lungs? You can think about this in your own language. I once learned from a Chinese expert doctor in Chinese medicine and Western medicine, and he developed something called Tai Chi Wu Qigong. It's a medical term of Qigong. And I remember he had a lecture, and he said, you know, in China, we have the language implies what part of the energy system is involved in different emotions. So if a child is very stressed or very hyper, all the energy goes up into the head and it's all spinning. And the mother will say in Chinese, calm down. You want to take your energy down to, let's say, try to focus on the navel area, and you will feel a change of your emotions and energy in the body. And I said, well, that's great. I can inform you that in Norwegian and English, we have a lot of similar things. In Norwegian, for example, we say ro deg ned. It means just calm down. And actually, in the word, people say calm down, they don't think about what we actually mean. We mean take your focus and energy down in the body to your lower brain, as the Chinese call it. Yeah, so why did I say calm down? Well, I don't know. I lost my thread, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go to free flow. Free flow is tailored to support heart circulation and flow of energy. And it's also very good for people who experienced circulation issues and pain. So, but you will not be successful treating pain unless you have good kidney and lung function. Okay, so we have the Pure Calm. Pure Calm is to support the organs that's involved in stress, in sleep, in and supports the rhythms of your internal clock and the brain waves that are associated with a calm, like 4 hertz, 8 hertz, etc. So Pure Calm is a good program to run regularly, not just when you feel stressed. Because when you feel stressed, the body needs to finish its cycle. It needs to turn around the production of cortisol and adrenaline and so forth, the hormones that helps keeping the stress level high. So it's a good idea that if you have a tendency of being stressed, run Pure Calm once in a while. Pure Energy is made to help facilitate energy conversion in the body because we don't produce any energy. This is a misconception. We're talking about ATP as the energy producing molecules in the body, and we talk about we need to produce energy and so forth. All we do is to convert energy from one source to another. So we can use the energy from the electric field of the electric current from Healy. We can use the energy from the sun. We can use the energy from the ground. We can use the energy from purified structured water, etc. And to use this energy effectively, we need to support the systems in the body that helps produce energy. Also, we need to calm the emotions and treat the emotions. So, because when you're stressed, you spend a lot of energy, but let's say we want to help convert it and store energy. So that's when you use Pure Energy. Use it regularly if you have a tendency of feeling fatigued. The renewal program is also supporting renewal of cells and tissue. It's also, oh, I got 2 dogs in here. Okay, you have to lay down, you guys. So anyway, the renewal program supports the renewal of cells and tissue. It also helps combat infections, bacteria, fungus, etc. Because there are specific frequencies that influence the light or the vibrations of the intestinal system, for example. And that was my son. Anyway, so it will, like Hulda Clark, if you know about her, she made frequencies that were helping to get rid of parasites and so forth. I don't see frequencies as killing anything. I see frequencies supporting the terrain. So research shows that if you look at bacteria in the stomach, it will send out frequencies, and you can measure it in the light range. So different bacteria have different lights, different resonant frequencies. And if you support the good bacteria with the right frequencies, they will more easily dominate and populate the intestinal system. That goes for all of the body. So it's a good program to, if you have had an operation, you have a scar, you have a wound, you have some infections, you need to support building of new cells. Renewal is a great program. Go to the Root was originally called Healing of Causes. I like that name better, but it was because of compliance. It was called Go to the Roots. And Go to the Roots is typically a program you use when you have done a lot of the basic physical, energetic therapies. So the body is in quite a good balance, but you want to go deeper. You want to support your emotional system, your spiritual system, and ensure that the root causes of disease, dis-ease, not at ease, is treated. So go to the roots. It's a great program to treat something that lasts. It's not for tomorrow or today. It's to treat the causes of your problems. The energy work is a special program developed for chronic fatigue patients, but people with chronic fatigue. And that feels well when they use the pure calm and the pure energy. So the energy work is very much like the pure energy program, but it's much longer. So it's typically not the program you want to use if you are a beginner with the frequency and Healy. It's a program you can use when you are acquainted with the therapies, you have done good detoxification, you have done the basics with the kidney and the lungs, and you just want to help the body gain energy. And then you can run the energy work to build up more energy and help the body generate or convert more energy. I think maybe that was about what we should look at here. Let me see if there's something I forgot. Yeah, you see so on this presentation, affirmations. My liquid energy flows in beautiful ways. So these are what I call intentions. So when you treat yourself, you don't have to use these words, but when you use the free flow and you want everything to flow, think, I'm using this program now, I want to have a free flow in the body. By doing that, you influence the sensor, the quantum sensor in Healy, to choose frequencies that support this better for you. And as I told you previous, you will influence the waves so they are more effective. So this is one of the differences between Healy and other systems, that you can influence it in this way. It's also one of the differences with a good practitioner and a bad practitioner, because a good practitioner is capable of transferring his or her intention to heal and to help to the patient, and thereby influencing the frequencies. Okay, Petra, I think that was a quick going through the programs.
Perfect. I have a few questions that came through for me, as well as I think others would want to hear it as well, because I have my own experience with Deep Cycle and I've been using it for like 4.5 years now. And I find for me that at the beginning I started using it for physical applications and support, but I found enormous benefits when I was looking at the trauma response within my body and looking at, for example, fine flow, for example, for me is when I feel like my bioenergetic field is like wobbling. If I run fine flow, like you tell me, because this is just my experience, but I find that, like you said, the liquid flows, so beautifully through my body. I feel my energy just subsides. It becomes stronger. Like for me, that's how I experience the fine flow. But I don't know, am I imagining it, or is that something that is actually influencing my body as well?
Yeah, of course. The thing is that our existing science is full of separation, and the society is full of separation. I think this is a theme you all can acknowledge. We feel alone. We feel separated from everything. So when you think about we tend to separate to say that, okay, you come to a doctor, if it's a psychologist, they will say, oh, it's all in the mind. If you come to what do you call it? Doesn't matter. If you come to orthopedics, he will say it's about your joints. And if you come to another specialist, they will all say it's about this part. My experience that there is no separation. You don't have a problem in the physical level You don't have a problem in the psychological level. You don't have a problem in the emotional level. You don't have a problem in a spiritual level. If you have a problem, it influences all of you.
Yes,
That
I
means
agree.
if you when you do treatment and you use the free flow, not free flow, yeah, free flow. I think you have the incorrect name, but it doesn't matter. The free
Oh,
flow.
sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. If you use the free flow, of course, it will support the physical flow in the body, but the physical flow is closely related to the energy flow because all it's energy. So it makes sense. It's not stupid. And again, your feeling and intentions will influence the effects of the frequency. So if you need energetic flow in the emotional, spiritual level, that's what you're going to get. That's the beauty of it.
Yes, that's why I love them so much. One question a while ago was when we had, like you literally described the kidney all female and kidney all male. Um, could it be related, energetically to feminine and masculine energies within the body as well, in our left and right kidney, like the female and the male aspect, when we run that? Because I find when I do, for example, resonance analysis and deep cycle comes up, and like you said, I have a woman, like it's a woman client, and it comes up as a male, all kidney male. Sorry, kidneys all male. And I found through repetitions that it really related when I was looking at other analysis. It was the masculine energy that was either lacking or it was overwhelmed. So I was just wondering, do you find, I know that everything's connected, but did you find anything in your experience that would kind of express that as well?
Express what? Can you repeat the question?
Like that the program kidney or female or kidney or male would relate to the feminine or masculine energy within our bodies as well.
Yeah, well, I don't think the word feminine and masculine is also a sort of separation.
Separation. Okay.
But of course, we know that. I know I'm not answering directly what you're saying, but I think it's important to understand that basically energy is neutral, and the universe is neutral, and consciousness is neutral. It means contains all, and we contain all. But our physical existence is polarized. We have plus and minus, that's why we have current. So existing in a physical 3D space gives us polarity, plus and minus, female, male,
Yes.
polarity change, etc. So yeah, of course, we have sometimes support. We need to support a part of us that maybe is not that well expressed. So I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. There was, I think it would be good for us to just move on some questions that people had.
Sure.
Or do you have any presentation left to
No, I think
share?
it's a good
Or
idea to do the questions because since it's
it's
advanced
already,
training, I think a lot of people knows the program and knows about
yeah.
electromagnetism and so forth. So better to do more practical stuff. I see there are a lot of things in the chat. Maybe you just to take them up after they come.
So one question was, what about the dogs or animals? To use Deep Cycle H on their pets, can they do that?
Absolutely. And animals, they respond to these frequencies like children. And that means they respond quickly, easily, and they don't judge. So they don't say, oh, I'm not sure about the science about this. They just take what they get. And again, you combine it with your attention for the dog, you will tailor the frequencies for the dog or the cat or whatever. But it's a little bit difficult to use electrodes on those, so I will probably use the coil.
Yeah, for sure. And it's easier when they move around
Yeah.
with the pets. There was also a question, I know in our community, because you had the deep cycles, which were the original ones, and then we went into deep cycle harmonics. So a lot of people still have the deep cycles. And one question was, Is it mandatory to repeat the first 3 applications, meaning the application 1, 2, and 3, before doing another program such as I think it's the Gestalt, especially if they were doing done a long time before that? Do you think if there's a lot of space in between, they need to repeat the applications?
Well, like I say, I shouldn't use the word hate. Maybe I should find a better word, but I hate strict rules because there's nothing like that. If it feels right for you, you do it. That's the general thing. And but it's a good idea if you want to treat other people and introducing them to frequencies to use those originally 1, 2, 3, just to get them acquainted with it and not to risk that they wake up next morning, they are so detoxed, they have a headache, they feel like hell, and they say to you, why did you do this to me? So it can be a good idea to start with the 1, 2, 3. And as the same in deep cycle harmonics, you have the sensitive covering those 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I agree. And I always say this to my community as well, is my experience with deep cycle is that it goes really deep. And for people that, correct me if I'm wrong, but for people that have never experienced frequencies before, or they need a lot of detoxification, it's good to go slow and use the sensitive. And like you said, build up the kidneys and really help the detoxification pathways, so they don't have all these extreme effects of detoxification. Because I know when I started, and it was back then when we were not recommended, there was no recommendations of 3 programs per day, and I would run 5 programs, and I would I would really have a huge response to the deep cycle. But I really loved it because I saw the benefits of what it can do in the body. So I love that. Perfect.
So that's why some people, I've seen that there are some people saying that I have recommended that everybody should start with the gold cycle because you cannot go to deep cycle directly. I never said that.
No, yeah.
But the gold cycle are fine. But the reason for this, I guess, is because that some people experience that the gold cycles, they are a little bit less, goes a little bit less deeper. They are not that comprehensive and powerful. So if you have a problem, maybe that can be a good idea. But again, we have the sensitive program, so you don't have to do that. So yeah.
Yeah. Would you just recommend do the sensitive program or the applications 1, 2, 3 for a longer period of time, and then move on to kidneys?
Yeah, if you don't have any
the breath?
reactions after a few days, it's fine. You can move along, and normally, when people come into my clinic, I think we hear a lot of things, and people present a lot of complex things. I do some measurements to see how the energy is moving in the body. I measure the minerals, electrolytes. I measure HRV, their heart variability, and so forth. But what I really need to know in terms of frequency is, is this a lung person or a kidney person? What is the first of those 2 systems I need to treat? Because if those systems don't work, nothing's going to work. And a lot of people are kidney persons this time. Several reasons, but one of the reasons are extreme stress, and also that they don't drink enough clean, good water, and drink all kind of other stuff, and all that stuff will harm your kidneys. So it's like a good old Dr. Jerry Tennant said to me once, I remember, if you're going to wash your car, would you rather wash it in cold or water? And it makes sense, you don't wash your car in dirty water, and you don't wash your body in dirty water.
Yeah, I agree. But the water is becoming less and less clean around the world. And now here in Australia,
yeah. So
when I moved from Europe, and I was born in, a country underneath the Alps, and I was used to having a high mineral water, and coming to Australia, drinking tap water was horrific. I needed to literally buy all the machines possible to purify the water and put hydrogen in there. So, it costs you more than having a proper spring. But I agree, water is such a immense and crucial part of our living.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the cofactors or things that support your therapy. I see
Yeah.
a question that I would like to answer because
Yeah.
how do we differentiate, or how can we see if we are a kidney person or a lung person?
Hmm.
I can help with that because if you have a tendency, or the person you want to treat has a tendency of anxiety, stress, or had sexual abuse, and this kind of stuff related to the bladder, kidneys, the uterus, these type of organs, and those are dominant for you, you're probably a kidney person. If you have emotions like being stabbed in the back, sorrow, lack of joy can also be heart related, but that's very normally emotions associated with the lung system. So you can use your emotions if you don't have measurements like I do in a clinic and so forth. You can try to understand your emotions. And I could bring up the chart. Maybe I think I have it in another presentation. If we have time
Yeah,
after, I could do
perfect.
it.
Yeah, yeah, you
Let
can.
me, yeah, you just prepare a question. Let me see if I have it in the other presentation here.
Hmm.
Just gonna see. I didn't have it in that presentation, so I'm not going to spend time looking for it. But well,
That's
you
okay.
can yeah. If you look at the Chinese philosophy and the acupuncture meridians and acupuncture system, they are pretty much right in most of it. And there you can see. I can do it, quickly. Things, you have in the spine, you have what I would call the batteries. And the main battery for the lung system's in your neck. And it's the double, the C7-6 area. And that's the battery for the lung system. It's connected to the large intestine system, which has the main connection point here, going down here, and through your breast, by the way. So if you have, we have an expression in Norwegian that says people have pain up here, and they say you experience more than your shoulders can carry. You see, this is a feeling that influences your lung, and if you feeling being betrayed, you have a tendency getting a pain between the shoulder blades. And that influences the lung and the heart system, which again influences the small intestine, because these are connected. So I think a good way is to try to sort out what is my emotional dominance. If your emotional dominance is in kind of weakness, in sorrow, feeling betrayed, not seeing the pleasures of life, and things like this, lung person. If it's stress, sexually related, etc., kidneys. So this can be a way of understanding what type you are, or you can look at all the physical symptoms. But just to complicate it a little bit, if you have a tendency of asthma, or lung issues, it's natural to treat the lungs. But it can be that the reason the lungs are overwhelmed is because the kidneys don't work well. So in that case, if you don't know, treat both. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I sometimes find, when people are so deeply out of balance, that, kidneys and lungs are already being affected. It's
Yes.
kind of hard to discern. So it's better to actually support both. I completely agree. I love this.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a question here. Somebody said,
yeah.
"Can I be both?" And yeah, you can be both. I mean, we don't want to put you in a category and say you're a kidney person or lung person, but I'm just saying from a treatment perspective, it's useful to know what is the highest priority. So of course, some people are not typically either kidney or lung person at all. Maybe they are typically, the Chinese have something very wise. And this has been now understood in modern science. They knew it a couple of thousand years ago, and they call this the upper brain, the medium brain, and the lower brain, just below your navel. And you have more neurons in the gut than you have in the brain drain. And also scientific evidence has shown that when you experience something in the environment that is very important to you, it's censored by the heart, and the heart informs the upper brain that there is a thing here, and then the upper brain kind of sends the signals to the body to do something. So this is a cooperation between, you know, the basic three areas. So they're very closely related. So it's a good idea to understand where you're very focused. If everything is spinning up here all the time, you know, you are very mentally oriented. You need to take a deep breath and try to lower your focus and energy down to below the navel, so you can use all the resources on the body. And that's something that used in a therapy called EMDR, where people have a trauma and they haven't got rid of it through psychological therapies and so forth. And then they do a movement of the finger, and they are told to focus on the issue. And if you do it, there are several things happening. But what you do is you engage both the left and right side of the brain, the creative, the part of the brain, the more intellectual, and so forth. And what you do is actually you give all of your resources the possibility to handle this issue. And so it's a good thing to think about the whole small thing about trauma, while I have it in mind, is that if you have some trauma, you are aware of it, because we all have some traumas in the past. Some we are aware of, some we're not. It's a good idea. Let's say there's a trauma that gives you certain emotions. Let's say that it's related to sexuality. A lot of people have it. Okay, so you run the kidney oil program. Whoops, I came up a whiteboard here. Okay. Anyway, there's a whiteboard in the middle of the screen now, but all right, somebody's drawing. Okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's say you have a trauma related to the kidneys. You run the kidney program. It's a good idea, while you run the program, specifically after the introduction frequencies, which is normally about 9 or 10 minutes, when the specific frequencies comes, then focus on the trauma. I know it can be painful, but focus on it. And every time that it starts to fade away, you say, no, I'm sticking with it. I'm focusing on it. I'm not running away. I'm accepting it's there. I don't like it. That's okay, but I'm focusing on it. And if you keep on doing that while you do the therapies, two things happen. One, the electromagnetic pattern that is stuck in your body from this trauma is being more or less dissolved by the frequencies, because it's active. If it's not active, you cannot dissolve it. The other thing is that if you give the attention to it, you activate the whole body and your mind. And the third thing is that we are monkeys in a way. So if I tell you, do not think about a pink elephant. Do not think about the pink elephant. How many is thinking about the pink elephant? Everybody is thinking about the pink elephant. So that means if I say do not think about the pink elephant, you will not be able to do it. So if you have a trauma, anxiety or something, you're doing the treatment, you have multiple effects. If you think about it, yes, during any program. If you think about it, the brain will then, if you accept it, you think about it, the brain will tend to stop thinking about it. But you force it to think about it back and back and back and back. And eventually this dissolves the pain, the emotional pain. So you can see that I remember I had a woman sitting in my chair, because I use a massage chair in the clinic when I do treatments. And she had spent 6 months going back and forth outside our clinic and looking in. She never came in. I saw this woman passing by, and I thought, oh, she is interested, but I wonder why she never comes in. And then one day she came into the reception, and she said, I just want to say I'm so scared about everything. I'm so worried about everything. I have so much anxiety that I haven't been daring to come in. And I don't dare to have a treatment, but now I'm here, and I say I would like, in some way in the future, I maybe like to have some treatment. I said, that's fine. You can come back next week and we can talk again. And long story short, she came, she wanted to have a treatment, and she said, I have a problem, I have to go to the toilet every 5 minutes because she have an overactive bladder, super stressed, super anxiety, etc. I said, well, we have this free peeing thing here, so you can pee all the time. Oh, that's great. And I put her in a chair, I did the treatment, and actually she could sit for 20 minutes. She didn't expect it, but she could. And next time she was doing the whole treatment. And then I said exactly this to her, I want you to focus on your anxiety and being scared. And whatever happens, don't stop doing it. And after some minutes, I said, how do you feel? I'm still scared. Fine, keep it up. After 5 more minutes, I said, how are you doing? Well, I'm not that scared, I said, well, don't forget it, keep at it, keep at it. After 10 minutes, said, well, I can't really focus at it anymore. I said, well, great. And next time she came, she did the whole treatment. She wasn't that scared anymore because the brain was finished with it. You gave it attention. We all need attention. Even if it's bad,
Amazing.
it's better than no attention.
Yeah, amazing. I love this. And I do this as well for when I do vibrate resonance programs or I do deep cycle programs. Would you recommend any of the deep cycle programs that are more aligned? Like, for example, you said anxiety or sexual challenges. Would you run, for example, kidney or female or kidney or male while focusing on that and then complementing the programs
Absolutely.
based on the
Absolutely.
trauma?
So you can do that with all the programs, and if you know that, and again back to the emotional state, if you know the emotions are related to organ system, and you can look it up, even if I didn't put it up now, you can also look at Dr. Jerry Tennant. It's called bioterminals. I can see if I do have it available. Yeah, I do actually. I can share it, I think. Yeah, cool. I will share it. Give me a second.
No worries.
Share. Here it is. Can you see it?
It's still loading. Yeah, now we can.
Yeah.
There's only half of a person on the screen, though. Is that
half.
normal? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Now we can see the whole thing.
So you see that, and I found this to be very accurate.
Okay.
So if you're, this is looking from the front side and back side, as you see.
Yeah.
And they're related to the terminals. So like I told you, the lung terminal has a tendency of hosting grief. So that would be typically the lung system. And to the heart is typical sorrow, not being loved, lack of joy, and so forth. Digestive system, digest all, worry. And to the kidney system, bladder and sexual organs and so forth, you have the fear. And then the lower perineum-based chakra area holds anger, and that influences also very much the liver. So people with liver issues normally have a lot of stored up anger. So,
would you run Clean All for that or any other program?
Yeah. Why not? Good idea. Good thinking.
I like to combine.
I could send you this if you want, and you can share it later.
Yeah, I would love to, and I would share it in my Facebook community as well, and we'll share it with all the Healy members that attended.
Because what Dr. Jerry Tennant did, he did compare the Chinese acupuncture system, the Indian chakra system, and the Western neurological system, and he found all the connection points on the main terminals, and so they're quite close to the Chinese system, but it's a very good system, I think. I found it from many years' experience that it perfectly fits people.
That's beautiful, and I love how deep cycles are so incorporating everything together. It's not just one-way street, and I love this about these programs. So, are you okay if we take 2 questions because we have 2 raised hands? Are you okay if we do that?
Go ahead.
Do
I
you
see
have
there are some
time?
questions in the chat, so just go ahead until
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So we have two people. So we have BV Barusha. I hope pronounced that correctly. So you have the floor. You can ask the question. Hello? Can you hear me? BV Baru.
There is another raised hand here, but I think they're muted.
Here.
You
So
have to unmute them, maybe.
yeah, I've offered to unmute. Let's do Dr. C. Dr. C, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Okay. Yeah, really, it is a wonderful presentation. Yes,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I am an acupuncturist. So
very good.
Yeah, as you said, we are not no separation. It is really, but we have to approach everything as a whole. Your point really wonderful. That is, we are human being is a whole. It is not, we cannot separate anything. Then that emotion, as you mentioned, is a wonderful thing. As a heart related with the joy and the stomach with the worry, lung grief and sorrow, and kidney fear and liver anger. If you come across any issue, really, if you treat the root cause, it gives wonderful thing. Then you have mentioned the gut-brain axis. Really, majority do not know what is the significance of the gut-brain axis. You have rightly mentioned, because so much that is in special children or any mind-related issue or emotional issue in this one depression, anxiety, especially a lot of the special children issue, the gut-brain axis plays a major role. If you address that, the result will be more. Then you have mentioned about the intention. Really, that plays a major role. The basic point is you live along with the nature. That is your wonderful takeaway. If you go away from the nature, we are getting more problem in our health. That is the takeaway. This one. Wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity and have your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to add something because when you say something, it inspires me about the gut-brain relationship and the heart-brain relationship, and the transmission of the information from the gut and the heart to the brain is going with frequency, of course.
Oh, right. Okay.
So for example, in the free flow program, there are frequencies that are very, very low, down to I think 0.1 hertz. That's very, very, very slow. But when the heart and brain are synchronized, the communication is about 0.1 hertz. We know this from science. So it's electromagnetic level also. It's not just hormones or nerve signals. It's electromagnetic level. There is a synchronization, and when you can synchronize it, it works better. And that is something, I said it, but I should have made a couple of pictures because I have using a device called BioWell in practice. Are you aware of this device?
Pardon?
BioWell. It's a device called BioWell. Yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. I use the BioWell. It's very good at showing the activity of electromagnetic fields in the body, or the electromagnetic activity of the body. It's stress and what organs are working a lot or less. And without exception, when I treat people with frequency and I take one picture the one day and they treat them, and the next day or the day after I take a new picture, you will see the balance is greatly improved. So all the programs has the same core functionality. It generates balance in your system, the electromagnetic balance. So that helps synchronize and balance everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you too.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. C, for your sharing. Okay. We will go to Barucha. Are you available now? Otherwise, I'm going to go to Yachna. Okay. So I'm just going to lower this hand because it's not responding. So Yashna, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. And it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Petra, for coordinating this and arranging this session with Jen. Thank you so very much. A quick question that I have. For kids, you have just given the case study for epilepsy. So wanted to understand which all programs you have used for kids for this particular condition.
Yeah, for epilepsy, it's by the way, for most kids, as I said, you can treat them with any program. With extreme epilepsy, it might be a problem to trigger more nerve activity. So you would then typically do the indirect treatment, and I see epilepsy as an imbalance in signaling. But it can have many causes. So we don't think about diseases or diagnosis. We think about functions. So it would be a little bit the same if you understand that this child has challenges related to the kidney system. You use the kidney oil. You can treat. Let's say you treat a mother, and if it's a very small child, you put it in the lap. And I have never caused anybody to get the epileptic seizure from frequency, but it's in the science that it says, well, if you have epilepsy, you should be careful with frequency direct applications. So epilepsy, of course, since I work with integrated medicine, we just don't do frequency. We talk about food, we talk about supplements, we talk about, there are some extreme cases where you see that not just epilepsy, but HGH, hyperactive children, and so forth. When you clean up the diet and get rid of the toxins, and you have proper food, proper water, proper sleep, you cannot be sitting on a mobile phone until you go to bed, and things like this. Only this will improve the condition for 70–80% of them. And then you add the frequencies, and you will have a very good result. And for any brain issue, that is related to the upper brain, it's very important to try to convert from what I would call a sugar carbohydrate metabolism to a fat-based metabolism, because when your metabolism is depending on sugar, burning sugar, you will go up and down. You'll be in and out of balance. It will trigger more inflammations. It will trigger more plaque for different neurological diseases and so forth. If you manage to reduce the sugar and carbohydrates so much and increase the good fat so much that the body starts to prefer to burn fat, it will produce ketones. Ketones are much more energy rich, or are more energy rich than sugar. But in addition to this, it doesn't give you these spikes. So you want a coffee or a smoke or a drink or sugar or something, it will make you stable. And it will reduce inflammation. It will normalize hormone production. And for neurological diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and all of this, and epilepsy, they all improve if they are on a consistent type of pure, clean, natural, ketogenic type of diet. So that's an important factor to add to this picture.
Sure. Thank you so very much.
Just one thing from this experience with this family, that is that for those of you who are capable of addressing the, let's say, spiritual issues, this child that had this extreme epileptic seizure, she had 26 every day, or through the day. So the parents were never sleeping, because it was several times during night. I found out through intuition and using the timer medical, which I talked to, that she had she didn't want to be here. You see, she withdrew. So her body didn't operate with her full consciousness and attention there. And how can you balance a system when you're not really there? You know, and that is the cause of a lot of things. And I think it's worth mentioning. Maybe most of you know it, but all problems you have, where are they? In time. Where are the problems you have in time? I would say almost all of them are in future or in the past. If you feel you have a problem, it's because you expect you will experience this in a minute or in an hour or in a second or in a year. So you're worried about something's going to happen, or you are concerned about what already happened. So if you're capable of being here now, and you say, when you feel bad, you say, well, I don't like it, that's okay, but I'm here now. I am in my body now, and I accept that I'm here now. You put all the energy and all the consciousness of your miraculous being as we are into the now, and you can solve more or less anything. But you cannot solve something that is going to happen or that did happen. You can maybe solve it, but that's not the way to do it. You lose your energy. So you're sending your energy into the future or send your energy into the past. But if you use it here now, you have a life. Just a side comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Said.
Thank you so much, Fredrik. Thanks, Petra.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fredrik.
Thank you, yes.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Do you still have time for one?
Getting too long?
Would you like to? Yeah. Would you like to answer 2 more from the chat, or would you like the raised hands?
I don't care. I just answered any question.
No worries. I'll take a raised hand now, and then I'll see if there's any. Or you said before that you wanted to answer one in the chat, so let's maybe do one, and then we can finish. So you don't take too much of your time. Narendra, you're next. If you can hear me. Narendra?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Welcome. Hello?
Yeah, this is, thank you very much, Fredrik and Petra, for the good presentation today. I have been using this Healy since 2024 April onwards. I have been diagnosed with this multiple myeloma. Last 1 year I was perfectly okay running all the programs, but once again the problem has surfaced out. I'm really suffering. Can I use this deep cycle program? And currently I'm restarted my chemos back. So this is what is my simple question to you.
I don't think I heard all of it properly, but I think I heard the most important. That was the last part. If you can use the programs while you're on chemo, is that right?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma 2 years back. I've been using since last 2 years this Healy, and I was perfectly okay with my health. Since last 6 months, it has once again resurfaced out, and my health condition is very bad. So with the program, today's session, what I understand is deep cycle program really helps for this cancer point of view. So can you just guide me on that?
Yeah, as you probably know that we are not allowed to promise or tell you that we're going to cure or treat anything, but I have some experience with these issues. Generally, yes, of course you can use it. If you use it while on chemo, you will increase the effects of the chemo. And that can be good and it can be not so good because it's called electropolarization, and it means that it will not be for all of the body, but let's say you have put a sticker electrode here and a sticker electrode in the back, just electrode here and there, and the frequencies go through there. All right. So in this tissue that the frequencies pass through, and if you hold it in the hands, it goes through the hands. If you have the bracelet, it goes through the hands and to the other side. So the tissue involved will have current passing through, frequency passing through, and that will open up the cell membranes a little bit more, called electropolarization. So that means that anything in the blood will more easily go into the cells. So if the blood is full of nutrition and supplements and things you really want into the cells, it's a good thing. If you can target, which is complicated because electric current will always follow the path of the least resistance. So if you put one electrode there and you put one electrode there, it doesn't mean it will go straight through. It can go this way because that's the shortest way for the current. But let's say you put the current directly through the area where there is cancer and you have chemo in the body, you will open up the cells and the chemo will be coming into those cells more actively. But that said, I would be cautious if you're having a chemotherapy to use the frequency as the same days you have the chemo, because my worry about the chemo in general is that it's harming the healthy cells also. So it's better to do a cleanup after. It's better to strengthen your system before. So yes, it can be beneficial, but in general, when in an active chemotherapy phase, I will probably not do it.
Does this answer your question, Narendra?
Yeah. Thank you.
Also, just back to the presentation I had, you have low voltage in the body. You do not have the necessary energy for the cells to reproduce themselves in a healthy way. So you need to do anything you can to increase the voltage of the body. Frequencies are one of them. And being out in nature is one of them. And we should never forget that if you look 80 years back in time, my mother had tuberculosis and her sister had tuberculosis. And do you know what they did with the treatment with her? They sent her to what's the English name? I don't remember, but it is a place, a sanatorium. It was a sanatorium. Oh, wow. And what was the treatment there? Well, they got good food, fresh air, and they put them in the sun. That's what they did. And if they didn't have to operate or remove something, she had to remove something too, but that was it. So being out and getting the sunlight, which are electromagnetic waves, which charge your cells, and the near infrared, which is part of the spectrum, which can go deep inside the cells, is very helpful. Being barefoot outside, to sit barefoot, it helps synchronize your body, and you get the frequencies from the ground, and the currents from the ground energize the body. Drinking 100% pure water with hydrogen, like I do all the time, is helping. And so when you're not in attack phase, because I see the chemotherapy as an attack. The chemotherapy has a kind of primitive, sorry for saying that, but just my opinion now is that's a primitive strategy, and it's to kill the enemies. And you can compare it to something very strange. I'm not saying you're not going to do the chemo or giving you any advice in that respect. I'm just telling you philosophical thought about this. If you have a child with a big problem, do you want to hit them? Or do you want to support them? Do you want to beat them into sense? Or do you want to show them what is the right way of doing things? I prefer the right way of doing things. I think that's the modern way. So to beat them up until they kind of do what they want doesn't work well. It's the old story. And so is chemotherapy. But sometimes it can help, and sometimes it can reduce it. But the most important thing you do is to ensure that your terrain, your body, has is a friendly place to live, and the cells don't have to convert to fermentation like producing wine, because they cannot live normally. If you have an environment in the body that supports healthy growth, that's what the body wants to do. The nature does it all by itself. So that was a comment.
Thank you, Jan. I agree. I've heard this quote beautiful the other day. It said, you can't shame yourself into change. You can only love yourself into evolution. And, you know, when we treat our body with kindness, it brings us kindness back. It's frequency of what we put in, we get back as well. And we only have, it's almost 2 hours, so I'm just going to stop the questions so we can actually give Jan the time back. If you guys have any questions, and if you are in the Facebook group, please, you can ask them in the group. Jan, I know you're in the group. If you have the time, are you willing to maybe resolve certain situations in the Facebook group? If not, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's better to talk actually, because to explain something in writing normally
can take longer.
Yeah, it's not just that, but it's just that it's kind of you picking out some parts and you don't present the whole. It's more complicated, but of course I can try, especially if you remind me.
Of course, not a problem. I would like to end with maybe asking you, the last quick question is, what would be one core intention of yours that you would love of every user of the Deep Cycle to actually embody in their life? What would be one core intention that you feel like would go really well with Deep Cycle?
Well, that's a good question. Do I know the answer? I think
you don't need to know it.
I think one core intention is that you know, I have to give a little bit background for this answer.
Yeah, sure.
From my personal belief system, I don't think anything is accidental. I don't think anything is by coincidence. And I think we have a higher part of ourselves that are perfectly aware of what we're doing. And whatever we experience, it's something we actually are telling ourselves we need to experience. So I don't know the right wording in English, but you know, it would be kind of, the intention is to let be what needs to be done, you know, let it happen what's need to happen, because it's a little bit like if you consider life a river, and you go into the river and you try to walk up the river, it's extremely heavy. Yeah. So when you see the river and this is your life, jump into it. Just accept it, jump into it, flow with it. Let pass the rock, pass the waterfall. There will be still waters there. There is still water waiting for you. It's just let it happen. Let it be.
Beautiful. I love that. And I feel like the Deep Cycles are actually doing that, exactly that thing within each of us when we are using it. So I think this is such a beautiful combination of who you are, and because you created them with the intention of just acceptance and being right in this moment. So thank you, Jan, for taking the time out of your busy schedule in your life and dedicating this time and knowledge and wisdom and all that you are to this session. I am honored to have you here tonight with us, and I'm honored that you took the time. So thank you for being here. Thank you all of you for joining us and participating. The recording will be available next week within the Facebook community, as well as on the APAC, Healy APAC YouTube channel, so you are able to access it there. If there's any questions, of course, you can always ask them in the Facebook group. I'm active there. If Jan can, that's his job. It's not something that's extra. Yeah, so don't please expect him to be there always active for you. But of course, next week, Christy is doing the training and she'll be back. But Jan, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I just loved the session. Thank you. Have a beautiful night. Enjoy and have a beautiful day in Europe. And we'll be seeing you next week or in 2 weeks. Enjoy. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking time.